WNBA legend Sheryl Swoopes found herself unexpectedly silent when asked about Caitlin Clark's recent commitment to using her platform to elevate black women.
But when you hear that, thoughts on Caitlin Clark saying she wants to use her platform to elevate black women in the WNBA have been instrumental, obviously, in building that league to what it is. Okay.
I know there's been so many amazing black women that have been in this league, and continuing to uplift them, I think, is very important, and that's something I'm very aware of. And like I said, I try to just be real and authentic and, share my truth, and I think that's very easy for me. I'm very comfortable in my own skin, and that's kind of been how it is my entire life.
Yes.
While calling for greater recognition and support for black players. Yet, when this topic came up during Swoopes' recent appearance on the Gill's Arena podcast, the response was telling: a brief, silent pause, followed by a subtle nod. Was it a sign of agreement or a reflection of deeper complexities?
Women's sports fans, whether it was basketball, whether it was soccer, whether it was volleyball, you go down the list. I grew up loving it and watching it, so it's pretty special. It doesn't really feel real that I get to be here, but an amazing honor.
Sheryl Swoopes is often considered one of the most iconic figures in basketball history, and her influence transcends her on-court accomplishments. As the first player signed to the WNBA in 1996, Swoopes became a symbol of a new era in women's professional basketball, representing excellence, determination, and resilience. Known for her versatile play style, Swoopes earned accolades, including 3 WNBA MVP titles and 4 championships. Caitlin Clark has emerged as a new face of the WNBA, dazzling fans with her extraordinary skills and competitive spirit as a star for the Indiana Fever. Her deep three-point shooting and dynamic playmaking have drawn comparisons to legends, but her ability to blend showmanship with efficiency sets her apart. Clark's selection as Time Magazine's Athlete of the Year marked a defining moment not just for her, but for the WNBA as a whole, symbolizing the league's growing influence and cultural significance. Caitlin Clark's recognition as Time Magazine's Athlete of the Year marked her first major acknowledgement of this magnitude and brought unprecedented mainstream attention to the WNBA. Beyond the accolades, it was Clark's candid remarks in her interview that truly resonated. In a moment of introspection, she addressed the layered realities of her success.
But at the same time, I think just learning day by day, that's going to be the biggest thing for myself. And I think continuing to stack days, whether you learn one little thing or you learn a lot, I think continuing to improve is going to be the biggest part of it for myself. But also, don't lose the fun of it. This is what it's all about.
Caitlin Clark candidly acknowledged the debt the WNBA owes to black players, recognizing the foundational contributions of athletes who paved the way for her success. Clark's call to action was clear: to elevate those voices, ensure they receive the recognition they deserve, and continue the fight for equity in sports. However, this conversation took an unexpected turn when the same topic was broached during Sheryl Swoopes' recent appearance on the Gill's Arena podcast. When asked about the role of race and privilege in the league, Swoopes, a pioneer in women's basketball and one of the most vocal advocates for the WNBA's growth, was uncharacteristically silent. The moment of silence from such a prominent figure, who has long been at the center of discussions about representation and progress, left many viewers puzzled and sparked discussions about the complexities of navigating these conversations, even for trailblazers like Swoopes, particularly the privilege of being a white athlete in a league historically shaped by black excellence. Reflecting on this dynamic, Clark expressed her commitment to using her platform responsibly, saying, "I have to continue to try to change that. The more we can elevate black women, that's going to be a beautiful thing." Her comments underscored a deep awareness of the intersection of race and representation in sports, emphasizing her desire to champion inclusivity and amplify the voices of black women, whose contributions have been the foundation of the WNBA's legacy. When Sheryl Swoopes was asked about Caitlin Clark's acknowledgement in time of benefiting from privilege, her response, or lack thereof, spoke volumes. Swoopes remained silent, offering only a raised eyebrow and a brief nod before the conversation moved on. The room seemed to hold its breath. Was the pause a reflection of the weight of the moment? A conscious decision not to engage? Or perhaps Swoopes was simply processing the question. With Caitlin Clark now at the forefront of the WNBA's spotlight, named Time Magazine's Athlete of the Year, and celebrated for both her athletic brilliance and introspection about privilege. The narrative around the league is evolving. This shift places Sheryl Swoopes, the WNBA's inaugural superstar, in a unique position. As Clark publicly acknowledges the league's history and the foundation laid by Black players, Swoopes finds herself watching a new generation reckon with a legacy she was instrumental in shaping. It's crucial to remember that today's WNBA stands on the shoulders of trailblazing athletes like Lisa Leslie, Tamika Catchings, and Swoopes herself. These women didn't just dominate on the court. They fought for the league's survival, its visibility, and the respect of a world that too often marginalized them. Their struggles were rooted in more than just basketball. They were about carving out space in a society that consistently overlooked Black women and their contributions. Clark's recognition of this history is a significant step forward, but it also underscores the complexities of progress. For Swoopes, hearing Clark's words may have been a poignant reminder of the battles she and her peers fought to bring the league to this point. Her silence on the Gil's Arena podcast could reflect the weight of this history, a history that, while celebrated, is still marked by unresolved struggles for equity and recognition. In many ways, Clark's rise and self-awareness serve as a bridge between the WNBA's past and its future, one built on the sacrifices and triumphs of the Black athletes who made it possible. Caitlin Clark's statement, "The more we can elevate Black women, that's going to be a beautiful thing," carries a weight that demands action beyond rhetoric. It's an acknowledgement of her position as a white player in a league built on the excellence and perseverance of Black women, and a call to use her privilege to spotlight those who have historically been overlooked. This statement challenges not only Clark, but others in her position to actively engage in dismantling inequities and amplifying the voices of the league's Black players. Yet Sheryl Swoopes' silence in response to this acknowledgement raises compelling questions. Was her quiet moment on the Gil's Arena podcast a subtle sign of agreement? Or does it reflect the deeper complexities of the situation? For Swoopes, who spent years navigating the challenges of being a Black woman fighting for respect and visibility in the early days of the WNBA, there may be layers of emotion tied to hearing a younger player attribute part of her success to privilege. Could there be frustration in hearing this acknowledgement now, decades after Swoopes and her peers faced systemic barriers without such recognition? Or perhaps it was a moment of reflection, recognizing that progress, while welcome, has been slow and uneven. Swoopes' silence leaves room for interpretation, but it also highlights the nuanced dynamics at play in conversations about privilege and legacy. Clark's words are a step forward, but they also serve as a reminder of the ongoing responsibility to not only acknowledge history, but actively contribute to a more equitable future, one where the contributions of Black women are celebrated as foundational, not as footnotes. Perhaps Sheryl Swoopes' silence speaks louder than any words could. In a league that has fought tirelessly for respect and recognition, Swoopes and Clark represent two sides of the same struggle. Swoopes, as one of the league's pioneers, laid the groundwork through her brilliance and resilience, paving the way for the WNBA's survival and growth. Clark, now standing on that foundation, brings new energy and visibility, striving to carry the league to even greater heights. Yet, the silence underscores the tension and complexity of this moment. It's a reflection of the weight of history, the unfinished work of equity, and the emotional resonance of hearing the torch being passed in a league that still grapples with representation and acknowledgement of its roots. Clark's rise is not just about her individual accolades. It symbolizes a pivotal moment for the league, a chance to re-examine how it honors its past while building its future. The conversation is far from over. Clark's words and actions moving forward will matter just as much as her talent, shaping not only her legacy, but also how the WNBA continues to recognize and elevate the voices of those who built its foundation. It's a story of progress, with room yet to grow, as the league strives to balance honoring its trailblazers and embracing its evolving identity. As Caitlin Clark continues to use her platform to elevate Black women and confront issues of privilege, it raises a compelling question. How will Sheryl Swoopes and other pioneers of the WNBA respond? Will they find common ground, united by their shared commitment to the league's progress? Or will they remain emblematic of the evolving tension between past and present, between the struggles of the league's trailblazers and the opportunities afforded to today's stars? For now, Swoopes' silence speaks volumes. It highlights the complexities of legacy, recognition, and the unspoken emotions that accompany change. The weight of her silence serves as a reminder that progress is never linear, and that the path forward must also reckon with the sacrifices of those who came before. As this conversation continues to unfold, it signals a critical moment for the WNBA, one where the dialogue between generations has the potential to shape the league's future. And as this story evolves, we'll be watching closely, anticipating the next chapter in this shared journey of growth, reflection, and transformation.